What's going on, Real Life Nation? Hope everyone is amazing, having a great week so far. Welcome to Hump Day, middle of the week. I wanted to draw you guys' attention to a class I'm teaching in a few weeks. It's called Place Your First Trade. So this obviously is not targeted for you guys. This is targeted for your friends, your contacts, your network. So people who have maybe tippy-toed into trading, never actually placed their first live trade, or maybe they've just been swimming in the shallow end of the pool and just paper trading. And so this is for them. So I wanted to put a link for that. If you are interested, feel free to sign up your friends and family, but it's called Place Your First Trade. And we're going to talk about using Momo on a shorter time frame, building some plans, how to open some brokerage accounts, place alerts, and place orders, and go ahead and jump into the deep end. Go ahead and get out of the paper trading, get out of the shallow end, and just get after it. So that's what this class is for. It is a free class, and it will take about an hour, hour and a half. And it is October 11th, which is, I believe, a Monday, I want to say. I think it's a Monday. Yeah. There we go. October 11th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So shortly after the afternoon room on the 11th. Can I put a link in chat? Yes. Sorry, that was host and panelists. Sorry. Let's do everyone. Boom, boom. There we go. There we go. Yep. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so super excited about that. I'm working with a few people on putting that together, and this is really a supplement. So for any of you who have taken the beginners class, my wife and kids have gone through it. And what's interesting, after the beginners class, after the 10 or 12 hours we go through that, they both, or all of them, are like, so how do I place a trade? And we know this information too well, so we're this kind of a supplement, an in-between type class. After that, you kind of go through this, and don't worry, when we redo all the beginners classes, we'll have this as a component of that, so it won't be a separate kind of thing you have to go through. It'll be kind of embedded. So yeah, that is super excited about that. So let's talk about the markets. You guys ready? You ready? Type a 1 in the chat pane if you have no idea what the Fed is talking about with tapering and interest rates and what the heck, hawkish, all these things. So what I can tell you is that the Fed is leaving interest rates unchanged. And they say that tapering may soon be warranted if progress continues, which means what? Which means that sooner or later they're going to have to raise interest rates, right? You can't have these low or negative interest rates forever, which I never understood negative interest rates. That blows my mind. But we can't have low interest rates forever. It doesn't make sense. Things are too artificially out of whack, and so there has to be a reckoning someday at some point. So let's talk about SPY today. Even if you guys wanted to zoom in on a intraday, maybe a 5-minute, if you were to look at some of the drama and some of the JPAL news, you can see these smaller candles, and then just blah, blah, blah. It kind of wakes up and goes all over the place. So that is SPY. And so today SPY closed. Let's do it this way. SPY closed just a tad. It obviously closed above where it was yesterday, where it closed, but just a little bit above the high, I believe, just by a few pennies. So the high of this was 91, and the close, just a few pennies below. Okay, got it. So today comes in. Yesterday was a black candle gapping up to here, a bullish gap and go for those of you who play the gaps on your day trades. And then today, this looks like a giant indecision candle, meaning, hey, we don't really know what to do. We may go higher, we may go lower. So be super, super aware of that. Obviously, we did not quite fully close the gap here, just a little bit short, which I would expect something like this to occur in the next week or so, something like this. So it's been holding well above our 100 simple moving average. And most all of the indexes look something similar to that today on today's candle, where it made a little bit of a new high, didn't hold, and kind of gapped up and went a little higher. The Qs pretty much the same thing. Now the Qs are absolutely hitting their head right here. You guys can see there is some previous resistance right through here that the Qs hit their head on just a few weeks ago, made a new high, and then gapped down, and it's kind of hitting its head still on this same level, this previous resistance. So it's now current resistance. The IWM still chopping sideways, still going sideways for the most part. Again, this has been going sideways for quite some time, since I believe February. Yep, so February. But it did kind of reclaim and finally got back above that 200 some moving average. As you guys can see, anytime it goes below, it's not long before it recovers and kind of holds and claims that 200 some moving average level. So that is what I have for you on the indexes. Next up is BABA. So this is not bullish. I do know we have some traders who are maybe caught upside down in leaps. And so BABA is down pretty significantly from their highs up here. We'll say the close of this down to here, good 50 to 53%. I do know several of my coaching students, before they're coaching students of mine, bought leaps on BABA and went in heavy up in this range and even down here. And so obviously you're going to be upside down on those. And I almost feel like Murphy's Law would say that if it does recover, it would recover after January, right? Because there's so many leaps on that expire in January that it's almost like just a punch in the gut, kind of a reality check, expire over here after January, then they will kind of snap back and come back to life. But for me, I'm staying away from China, anything to do with China right now. As Robert Falco pointed out today in the Slack channel, I myself also got a Luckin Coffee, I guess it's some kind of litigation. I didn't read it, I just threw in the garbage. If I fill out this form, I may or may not be entitled to 47 cents or something, whatever. I'm not gonna spend my time on it. So anything Chinese, again, I'm going to personally sit them out. There's plenty of good companies out there. I believe Alibaba is a good company. It's just, you can't quite tell it in their stock price, right? It's kind of a boom, 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 kind of a making new lows every couple of weeks. But I do regret not setting up, when these moving averages cross, not setting up some kind of puts, buying puts, going long on puts for insurance for the rollover. That would be worth some serious coinage right now. Obviously hindsight's 2020, but I'm going to pay attention to that next time. I'm going to be definitely paying attention to that. All right, Teladoc, you guys saw Matt close below this level. Matt shaves his head. So look at that noggin. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to be like Jonathan Wade here. So you missed it. What did you miss? What is there to miss? So I did follow through on my promise of shaving my head if we close below. And so we did that. And yes, of course, it went below and then kind of snapped back above. Just a punch in the face, just a little slap. Of course, even if I did the low of that, you still would have had the same, same struggle there. But either way, it is what it is. We're all moving on. I followed through on what I said I was going to do. Nice, looks good. I had my hair turned. Where is the pick? Wait, there is still hair. I thought it was supposed to be bald. Yeah. So it was just the lowest clippers I had. Or the lowest clippers, the lady had. I didn't do full like shave with a razor, but yep, just low enough to get me. Yep, that's right. So I did. Yep, I followed through on what I said I was going to do. Again, now remove that and forget this ever happened, right? But Teladoc still in it. I'm still bullish on it long term. I got some insurance. This trade's one of the handful. I only have like 2 that aren't working out in my favor. The rest are doing great. The other one being Fastly. Long term, not great. This looks a lot like our stock chart on BABA, right? Kind of a hanging out, not getting any steam. It's not getting any enough bulls pushing it higher. Anytime it makes a high, kind of rolls over, makes a new low. So shave equals with razor. Let me get back to you on that. Guys, it's pretty shaved. Oh, we're talking about quarter, 1/8 of an inch, I guess, difference, discrepancy here. So Fastly, of course, the other one in my my portfolio, not doing that great, but it is what it is. Yep, you got some winners and some losers. So let's take a look at PCG. Again, our moving averages aren't quite going in the right direction. It's making some new, made a new low just a couple, 3-4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. So if you're interested in this, it is finally reclaiming it. First time in a while that we actually closed above moving average. So if you are interested in something like this, what I would do personally is I would try to wait for something like this, where you have a little bit of a pullback. Oops, let's try again. A little bit of a pullback and then a continuation higher. So $9.26. And I drew that line based off of some of this where it previously kind of hit its head on some of this resistance level. 9, you can give or take a few pennies, but somewhere in the 920s, 925 level, something like that. Absolutely do that. Anytime a stock reclaims a major moving average, it always is going to, well, not always. We'll say 9 times out of 10, it's going to retest and continue higher, right? And so what we're really wanting to do is it's going to retest. It might go a little bit lower. We're going to snag that right in through here and then continue higher. So that is PCG, and that's what I would recommend with of course, a stop down here. About 8, you can say 820. It's $1 of risk. Something like this, 820. Boom, boom. Oops, let's see. Stop market. Now, again, the moving averages aren't quite going in our direction. One thing I do like about this is it has made a series of lower highs. So the low of each of these is making higher. So I do like that. We'll see if we can get that set up. Let's see, limit buy, boom, something like that. So of course, a limit buy order suggests that we are going to go lower first, something like this, boom, continue higher. And then you also have the 200 simple moving average to contend with. So that is what I recommend. This is not at all anything that I would personally take, but those of you interested, that's how I'd play it. PCG, yep. Okay, next up is Workhorse Group. Not the most bullish thing either on PCG. I'm sorry, on Workhorse. Gapping down. Some of these stocks don't really move much, team. So if we were to look at, let's do PCG, I'm sorry, WKHS. Some of these don't move. Yeah, it moves 55 cents in a day. So it doesn't move very much at all. So this doesn't even typically meet a requirement of mine for a swing trade. However, we did kind of bounce off the same exact level just back in early summer. So back in May. So what is that, 4 months ago? So if you wanted to tippy toe in, absolutely. This is not not the most bullish. If you stock, I've seen chart, I'll show you some really good ones, but this is not my favorite. Not my favorite. It did make a little bit of a new low. Let's see, the low of that was 707, 705. So just a few pennies lower. So if you wanted to tippy toe into this and hold on to this long term, be my guest. It's going to be a while before it gets back up to its highs around $42. So if we were to measure it this way from 7 up to 42, it's going to have to almost 4.5x to get back to that. Now that's of course going from where it is to new highs. We're to go down, it's down 81, 82%. So it can't get too much lower, but obviously something's going on with this stock, this massive gap right here, and then this huge sell-off, and then just still not quite able to hold long above that level. So let's see, what was that? That was before earnings. I'm not sure what that, does anyone know what the news was on that back a few months ago? But again, it's closed the gap here. Jonathan's saying they lost a USPS contract. Okay. USPS contract. Was that like a significant piece of their business? Let's take a look. They are auto manufacturing. After it halts electric van deliveries. Yeah. Tens of billions. Okay, so tens of billions of dollar agreement doesn't come through. I get it. Big number. And they're that wow, look at their revenue. Is that right? Their revenue? How does that even make sense? Their sales are 2.9 million, but their income is, how do you have more income than sales? Something's not right. That doesn't make any sense. 2.9 million in income of 32.2. So they hold to deliver, they hold to sitting existing vans. Is that what you're talking about? So I can't even wrap my head around this. How are you making more than your revenue and profits? I don't even know, unless they're counting like stock sales or something. Yeah, so, I don't know, maybe the data is messed up or something. This isn't making sense to me, any of this, you know. So all the more reason to skip. It is bouncing off the same level right here that it did before. So you know, that's one thing. It is, the moving averages are reversed, and it's back to where it was in June of last year. So yeah, not great. Not great unless you're bearish. Yeah. All right, X looks a little bit like our indexes, right? Gapping down. So on this one, we did gap below our 200 something moving average, and what I would prefer is if we can close right back up above. So if we can close above this 200 something moving average, let's say, I don't know, tomorrow or Friday, if we close above it, I'll put on my list for Friday. If we can close above it, let's have an open order once it closes above to wait for a little bit of a pullback and then a continuation higher. So close above first and then an order around 2270 to buy it. Again, those are two separate things, just to be clear. We're going to close above it in the next day or two, and then wait for a little bit of a pullback to that level. It's always these always typically retest this level. So over and under, right? Yeah, if that some moving average was extended, something like that. If I was to just draw that out, we're going to close above, wait for a retest, and then continue on higher. And that is on X. America's US Steel, rather. US Steel. Sammy says, good place to pyramid. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if you're not in yet, absolutely. If you want to do that, you absolutely can. I was referring to like a quick swing trade, but nothing wrong with pyramiding in. Again, pyramiding, you want to hold on to these for some time. You don't want to like get in and out in 2 days on a pyramid, because what you're wanting is a little bit of a lower move. But be mindful that we are already below the 200 simple moving average. So ideally you'd be getting in kind of right here. At this point, you're getting an even better price than if you were to stagger out these lines themselves. So just be mindful of that. which kind of indicates that we could get some more selling on that. I did see that, let's see, on this candle right here, we get a little bit more selling volume coming in past couple 3-4 days. On X, yep, absolutely. Okay, next up is ACB cannabis. Another one that and let's go look at the weekly. This is down significantly, isn't it? Yeah. Was at 150 today. Your low price of $6. Oh my goodness, something is going on here. Let's take a look. ACB. Let's see, sales of 267 million. With what the heck? How do you lose 2.4 billion off 267 million? I don't know. They figured out how to do it. Yeah, I would not touch this one unless you're day trading it. But for swing trades, no. Just trust me on this. If you want to throw your money out, just send it to me. Throw your money away, just send it to me. I'll take it. Oh my, so we're back here where we were literally last summer. No, not last summer. Sorry, 2017. 2017. And last June, I guess we were down here. But wow, what a quick, crazy run up. The thing I don't understand about any of these cannabis companies, unless there's some unique edge, but the thing I don't understand about these companies is at the end of the day, you're growing a plant, right? And like, there's no like sunflower shops. If if you're going to grow your own plant in obviously states that are legal, you're going to grow your own plant. I don't understand the, if you're going to grow sunflowers or daisies or whatever, I don't understand setting a whole industry around that. Obviously, there's certain demand and certain legal, political gotchas there, but I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. But it is what it is. You guys are funny. You smoke their own stash. Yeah. Illegal federally saying come take your money whenever they want. So you can buy it the same place we bought it 35 years ago. All right. Thank you guys for the commentary. That's funny. Same guy. Okay, moving on. JMIA. Actually, I do not have this anymore. I got called away on this, but on JMIA, it is a e-commerce company. Primarily, I believe they're based in Germany and primarily e-commerce in Africa. The thing that I'm still a little unknown about is a lot of these poor countries still use cash, like actual paper cash. I haven't had cash in my wallet in the US in a couple of years, maybe 2 years, pre-COVID. And the thing I don't understand is on these companies or these countries that still very much rely on cash in parts of South America, it's going to be a long tail, a little bit of a lengthy type process to get more and more people using credit cards, more online electronic payments. And so this is an interesting stock, interesting vision. However, I think it's going to be, it's a ways away before, how long is it going to take to get 90% of African residents to buy online using credit cards when a lot of them have just for decades and generations used actual cash. So, I mean, I get it. I get what they're trying to do, kind of modernize some of these third world countries. I get it. I just think it's going to be a long process. You need to be willing to sit on this for quite some time. Obviously, the stock itself had quite a run in the early couple months of this year. Again, still never really recovered, still never really got back above. You can see almost like a head and shoulders right here, right break below. I just long term, I don't quite understand this one. It's definitely a buy and hold, not a buy and hold for weeks, but probably many years at a minimum. So be willing to hang on for a while. However, if you want to swing trade it, get in and out, you don't care about the underlying, you just want to play the chart, absolutely, be my guest. But again, we're still not quite out of this, still not able to make kind of a new high, get above our some of our previous highs. So if we were to look at this, for those of you who are not familiar with FinViz, and you're trying to draw some trend lines, FinViz does some of that for you. So if you're brand new or fairly new, they draw some trend lines automatically for you. So double bottom, a little bit of a resistance there around 30, 32. Yeah, not my cup of tea either, but yeah, JMIA. Yeah, what else can I say? So Jack Whalen is saying offering a payment service, but yeah, they need people to sign up. Yes, that's kind of what happens when you go into countries like that. I mean, they don't have, a lot of them don't have running water, electricity, and we're talking about e-commerce. It's just it's a little bit ahead of its time. Some countries need credit cards first. Yeah, absolutely. It would be helpful. Obviously, e-commerce. How would you facilitate that if you have to have cash? I don't even know how that would work if it's non-electronic payments, and they have to kind of be prevalent across a large group of residents, 60-70% for something like that to work. But yeah, if you don't have electricity, you don't have an internet connection, it's like there's that. But everyone has cell phones. I've been to third world parts of Africa and Zambia and elsewhere, and it's definitely an interesting experience. Actually broke my collarbone playing rugby in Africa last time I was there, but another story for another day. Next up is PRFT. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what a bullish trend looks like. Absolutely beautiful. So if you were interested in getting into this, we have a good 3 days of buying. I would expect a little bit of a rollover soon, only because we kind of hit our head at this 112, 122, 123 level just a few weeks ago. And we got 3 buying candles in a row. And so I would expect some kind of a rollover. And we'll see if we're able to take out this previous high. I would expect at a minimum that it would roll over right there and then either continue higher or continue back. But we have it's quite a ways from its long-term moving averages. So that tells me that it's made a pretty high run, but at a minimum, I think it needs a pretty good rest. Even more significant than just a week or two right through here. It needs quite a rest. Let these moving averages kind of catch up to the current price action. Sometimes when it gets like that, it gets way ahead of itself. So PRFT. Next up is Visa. Speaking of credit cards, Visa. So the thing I do like about this, except for a few little exceptions, but we did close. We're still a little bit below our 200 some moving average. So what I would recommend, my strategy would be something like this, where we close above this 200 some moving average, and then we go ahead. Let's say tomorrow we close above because we're really close. So tomorrow, if we close above, just go ahead and set an alert, close above, and then set up a limit order. So you want it to go above and then kind of pull back, right? And then continuing higher. And so that's kind of the strategy you would play, something like that, with probably a stop down here, because that is the most recent U-turn. It's the most recent pivot. So again, we're not setting up a limit order. We're setting up a limit order after we close above. But something maybe 2.5, let's see, 215. Again, close above first. Let's make sure everyone understands. Close above first. Okay, something like that. There'd be a limit buy and then something like this stock market. Now, if we roll over, what could happen, I mean, this thing gaps around quite a bit to begin with, but yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I do. And again, you guys can see the trend, even if we were to look at it on a weekly, had some selling, but still it's still trending higher, even with all the we're looking at the weekly chart now. So even going back years and years, it's still trending higher, right? As e-commerce, more people getting connected to the internet, except people in third world countries who don't have electricity. So definitely back to daily, boom. Definitely looks like a solid trend. So something like this would be obviously a pullback since late July, early August. It's quite a pullback, but still looks like a bullish trend. So I would say buy the dip absolutely on Visa. Next up is Bros, Dutch Bros. So recent IPO as of last week. So doesn't have any, still in his diapers, still in his diaper, still has a pacifier. Why is it doing? There we go. Yesterday was a little bit of indecision coming in. Looks like a high wave candle. Today, an inside candle. So if you're interested in playing that, I would not take this as a swing trade because it's just too new, too volatile. But if you wanted to take a little bit of a pullback, probably down here to $46. Nothing wrong with jumping into that, but I would do probably a half R of risk on that. Just because it is fairly risky. There's no really indication of how the stock may move. Every single IPO is different. So that's what I would consider something like that. It was 39.50. Boom. Something like that. So it implies a little bit more of a sell-off and continuation higher. And then assuming this trend kind of holds for making a series of, not quite textbook perfect, but a series of higher lows. Next up is J&J, Johnson & Johnson. Are they still offering the vaccine? I don't know if they are or not. I know Moderna is, of course, and Pfizer is. Okay, so let's take a look. Fadi is saying they are. Okay. So here is kind of our previous example on Visa where I can't tell if that closed above. If it didn't, it came really close on this candle right here, but close above with a limit buy order. I don't know if it did it? Let's see, the moving average. Let's do it this way. This candle was 164.70 and we closed at 164.75. So it did just by a few pennies. Okay, so close above, then set a limit buy order. Exact same strategy, exact same scenario where you can wait. In this case, we'd use probably like a stop limit order. So you want the price action to go higher first and a stop market, something like this, 160, let's make it even, 160.90 and 164.90, something like that. So with a stop limit order, it assumes we're going to go higher first, right? So it assumes that the price action, which is currently right here after hours, down just a smidge, 16 cents, we're going to go higher first, then we're going to get triggered in, right? That's Johnson & Johnson. Again, this is a decent trend. It does chop quite a bit, lots and lots of chop, but looks like even if you look on a weekly, let's scroll up just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's still respecting kind of some of these moving averages. This is on a weekly chart, so we're looking If it goes below, it doesn't stay long. Stay below that long term on a weekly chart on Johnson and Johnson. Yep. I've always been suspicious of politicians, whether or not they have money personally tied up in these companies that are producing the vaccine. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but obviously someone's got to ask the question. So that someone is me today. I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Makes you wonder what their real motives are sometimes, not necessarily saying the vaccine is good or bad. You should or shouldn't have it. It's a personal choice. It's up to you. But makes you wonder. Makes you wonder when there's legal compliance things that are pushing maybe personal agendas. But yeah. Justin is saying money is in the medicine, not the cure. Yeah, absolutely. Which makes me wonder a lot of diseases that haven't yet been healed or resolved, or I don't know, maybe, probably, most likely. Okay, moving along. Yeah, and I don't mean to start a whole political thing about what the government's role is in life. Obviously, as a small business owner, you want the government to have certain things in place. So you want to have certain government, you want them to be able to provide certain infrastructure, but trying to be the answer to all your problems, it's not my thing. I don't think that's the government's role, and it is what it is. So again, not trying to get political and share my ideas with you, because I always hate unsolicited advice myself when people are like, oh, let me tell you all about my ideas and my opinions. And, you're like trying to run away from that person at a barbecue. You're like, okay, I got to see my friend over there. I'm going to, right. Yep. All righty. So anyways, Johnson & Johnson, that's what I would do. Disney had quite a little bit of selling yesterday, don't you think? Just a little bit. Usually when you have these massive candles like this, you almost always are going to have some kind of an inside candle where the market is trying to digest and figure out where to go and what's next, right? So the good thing I can see here on Disney is it does seem to be kind of in a little bit of a channel right through here. The 172s and 185s kind of going in there. Obviously, if you think of this as a support level, we did kind of bounce off that close below yesterday and kind of pop back again today. So Walt Disney, a humongous company. And I did notice earlier that we've not yet quite filled all of this. We tried to right through here. So just a smidge, a tablespoon, a teaspoon, something like this of gap fills that have yet to be filled. So not saying that's going to happen, but probably at some point, maybe not tomorrow, but most of these I would expect something like this, just to kind of chop, go sideways. Yeah, on Disney. Yeah, any thoughts on that? Any questions on that? You guys can see obviously buying off of the like support level would absolutely make sense. And how many times does it cross? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So set up your limit orders. You don't necessarily, as you guys know, with swing trading, you don't all the time. What I like, I'm in front of the computer a lot of times, but I want the ability to choose that. I don't want to have to be handcuffed to the computer because I want to make money trading. And, so that's Disney. Boom. Okay. Disney. Next up is Pinterest. So I am Pinterest. I'm down just a smidge on Pinterest on some limit buys that I had set up. Obviously, our moving averages crossing right here was not the most bullish event to occur. Obviously, gapping down huge, not the most bullish event to occur. However, I want to show you guys what I like about Pinterest. I'm going to show you. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Sales 2.25 billion, sales quarter over quarter, 125%. That's what I like about it. That's what I like. And gross margin, 77.6%. Can't get too much higher, just a little bit. Obviously, it would never be 100% margins because there's obviously some cost somewhere for these types of massive internet companies that have massive spend millions or tens of millions of dollars every month on hosting all their data, all the users, right? All the things. But yeah, and they're profitable as well. So imagine growing $2.25 billion of revenue, 125%, and still being profitable. It's not the, not the juiciest profit I've ever seen, but still profitable, right? Absolutely. All right, that is Pinterest. I like it long term. I plan to hold it long term. If we do get a little bit of a pop in the next few weeks, probably up in the 70s, I'll be looking to collar my position, which means I'm going to be locking in gains without selling. So locking in gains without selling. You guys can see we kind of bounced off this previous level right here where we had a U-turn Laverne. We turned around, did a U-turn out of nowhere. There's no moving average, nothing down there, kind of holding that up, but a lot of buyers coming in and pushing it higher. So kind of right there as of right now at the close and even after hours. So that is Pinterest. So again, my plan, depending on how much of a pop we can get, my plan is to set up a collar on this, probably somewhere up in the 70 to 68 level, somewhere in there, if those options are available. Lower highs and lower heights and lower lows. Yeah, so the thing that I do like, which one sec, my daughter's texting me. Okay, sorry. We interrupt this break. But ideally, sorry, team. Family business we're attending to. I don't even know what I was saying. I'm bullish on this long term. Right now, the stock doesn't look that great. And technically it's broken because we've closed below the 200 still moving average. We've not reclaimed that in a week or two. And we've been down here for a while. So since July, so like 2 months. So companies like this that maybe someone's like, hey, I might want to gobble up Pinterest since they're down here kind of making new lows, and I want to buy all the shares of Pinterest and roll them into Google. Right? Google still doesn't have a very legitimate social media product or tool. Google Plus kind of was a huge flop. So companies like this that have been down here for a while, obviously, if Google wanted to buy Pinterest, I'm not saying it's going to happen, just as an example, we would have heard some news about that. So I'm not making a prophecy, I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying companies that are down here for quite some time, they become tasty morsels for some of these big companies. But nothing's happening. There's no announcements. So obviously, as a buyer of a company, then that absolutely makes sense. If you're Pinterest and your management team, you're like, no, we want to sell way back up here, and like, well, your stock's not up there, it's down here at this moment. Maybe even if they did a 10% premium, still that would put it around $56-$57, price where it was 2 weeks ago. So that's Pinterest. I like it long term, solid company. My daughters like it. The chart is just broken right now, and I'm down just $1.80, something like that, just a smidge. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to skip Lemonade and come back to that in just a sec. Show you what I did on Lemonade. You buy any puts? Nope, not yet. I'm not super sensitive to price action when it comes to like, I don't overreact to stuff like this where it might close below. And obviously if you're buying puts like insurance on lower moves like this, you're going to be paying through the nose, because the cheapest, most inexpensive way to buy a put would be on an up day when you don't need it, right? That would be the cheapest way. So imagine tomorrow Pinterest gets up to $64. You know, buying put up here for a strike down here would be way cheaper than on even on a day like this, where, oops, let me try again. Let me try one more time. In a day like this, where you're like, oh my gosh, we're going to zero. Oh my gosh, the world is ending. My portfolio is bleeding. When you buy a put on a down day, you're going to be paying a premium. Why? Can someone tell me why you're paying a premium? It's like Uber surge pricing. Because of what? Because of implied volatility. Yep. Yeah, fear. Yeah. So IV, implied volatility, is like the excitement level. And the excitement level in this case would be for the bears. So the bears are excited, the bulls are excited, either one, IV goes up, and you're automatically getting you're paying surge pricing, so to speak. Now, when I was in Las Vegas, I'm trying to think, I was going somewhere and I looked at Uber and it said $10. I literally looked at the same trip, literally like an hour later, like rush hour traffic, and it went from $10 to like $50, which was just, I didn't know they can do 5x. I always thought it was a little bit more, which is in the same exact concept. The same thing applies for implied volatility. It's like the unknown thing you can't quite see and measure. Obviously, you can look at a chart and see the excitement level, but how that plays out into the stock price or the options price is how that works. So on live call right now, leave me alone. Okay, there we go. But you guys can see, obviously, like I actually had I had a collar set up over here. I forget the exact level. I have to go back and look, but I right on this pretty killer move higher, I had a collar set up here, and we actually fell off the cliff. And my collar, I think it was 80, it's either 80 or 82.50. My puts on as it fell off the cliff were worth some serious coinage. I forget how many shares I had, but how many contracts, but gapping down, from, we'll say 80s to 60s is going to be worth it's like a $2,000 in the money per contract gain. Now, that doesn't mean the option necessarily went up $2,000, because it depends on what you paid and how much time's left to expiration. But yeah, again, when you buy on down days, buy insurance protection on down days, you're going to pay for surge pricing. So I do not have puts on at this moment just yet, but I would say if we get down in the 50s, time to add some protective puts. However, I will be paying, I'll have no choice but to pay for the surge pricing for the high implied volatility. Does that make sense, guys? I want to make sure I'm explaining it to you guys correctly. Type of one in chat pane if you're with me and it makes sense, and we are ready to go on to our next one. Don, Renee, Jack, Daniel, perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's go on to AMD. So gapping down, boom, getting bought up. So I like the series of, this series of higher lows. So for those of you, I haven't really touched on this in a while, but this always tripped me up. Higher highs, higher lows, lower lows, lower highs. It's like, what the heck? What does that even mean? Higher highs, lower lows. So I want to share this with you. It's a little tidbit of nugget. nugget of knowledge. My DeLong nuggets. Jeremy has Newsome nuggets. Dang it, why can't I have DeLong nuggets? Give me that, folks. Okay, so in this case, the first word represents the direction. So higher, meaning higher, going higher, right? That's what the first word represents. The second word represents what part of the candle are we talking about? So in our case, we're talking about higher, and we're talking about the lows. Lows are higher each time, right? So we're talking about higher lows. And I do like this about AMD is the higher lows that are coming in on this, obviously filling the gap today on AMD. The one thing I would say though is yesterday was a little bit of indecision yesterday. So I would think that something, a little bit of a pullback, rotate, and then a rotation higher would absolutely be something that I would consider, except AMD is not on my list. Something like this, we're waiting for a, let's see, a limit buy with a stop down here. Something like that. So basically what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I missed the indecision candle on this day. So what you would do is you would set up a limit buy order. Let's see, the high of that is 103.43, 103. Yeah, let's make this even. Little trick here, team, is if you make the dollars and cents the same, which I didn't, boom. So now you have even dollar amounts of risk, $5 of risk, boom. Right, so what this is assuming is we might get a little bit of a pullback and a continuation higher. So the other thing that I did see is it did make a new low relative to this pivot over here in August, and then it held and pushed higher. So that's a good sign. That's what I would set up on AMD. All right, next up is Ford. I don't know, team, when I think of innovative companies, I think of companies like Shopify, Amazon. I don't know why, I just don't put Ford in that same bucket. That's just me. I don't know why. But if you like it long term, it doesn't move at all on a daily basis. But let's take a look at, so 39 cents. So what this means is ATR is average true range. So it means it's going to move about 39 cents. And what that represents is basically the average size of the candle from the high to the low on Ford is a mind-boggling 39 cents move per day from the high to the low. Now there's whole entire strategies that people use around that 39 cent move per day. So if the stock is down, like from its high to its low, if it's down certain percent or certain dollar amount, you can kind of assume 39 cents is the average, right? So this does not move at all on a daily basis. However, if you wanted to pyramid in something like this, I would do like three levels where you're buying at maybe 13, 10, 12, 55, and then maybe 12, something like that. And then you guys can see this previous pivot over here around April, around the $11 range. So I would set up a close below that, and you're going to be wanting to put on some insurance, put on some put options, buy some protective puts. And again, you will be paying surge pricing, absolutely, on something like that. But let's take a look at the weeklies. Yeah, see, not the most pretty. It kind of is, I guess it's since COVID, it's kind of made a little bit of a recovery, but I mean, this is quite a bit of many years of decline. But COVID hit its lows and kind of bounced. Since then, it has made quite a bit of a sell-off since the highs over here, 1645 down to 1245. So let's measure that one more time. Boom to boom, about 21%. So I would say buy the dip is enforceable or ideal on something like this. Buy the dip. Yep. And if you want to set up for a long term, long-term position, something like that would work. Could also put in maybe a fourth order right there, 3 or 4 orders somewhere in there on forward. Again, for a swing trade, ladies and gentlemen, does not move. So if you want to get some big out of here, you're going to have to really load up on the number of shares. But having all that, a lot of coinage in a single company versus a bucket of 5 or 10, 20 stocks, that's what I would recommend. Yep. All right. A few more that we're going to review real quick. PYCR was requested. Again, ladies and gentlemen, what is it that we just talked about? Which of this represents the line I drew? Are we higher highs, higher lows, lower highs? Tell me, give me some feedback based on, maybe we'll say these 2 candles right here. We made a series of, first word is higher. We're going higher. And we're talking about the lows, the low of the candle, the anatomy of the candle, higher lows. Boom. There we go. There we go. Learn something. Higher lows. So let's take a look. I don't know much about this company, but let's take a little peek under the hood and let's see what they do. Some kind of software. 352 million. I like sales. Not bad. Not bad. Immunization tracker, software as a service, human capital. So kind of like an HR type company. Okay, yeah. So hasn't been out very long, as you guys can see. No real long-term moving averages is even formed because this, as a company, as an IPO, is they're still teething, still in diapers. So for something like this, just be super careful. These things can move wildly and unpredictably early on. Not a lot of people are trading this. Very little to no analysts typically cover these things. They have to be out a little while before they get on people's radar. But I would say, having some open orders on a pullback would make some sense. So it implies that price action is going to maybe go lower and then continue higher, assuming this trend forms. However, if this stock just poops its pants tomorrow or the next week or two, just be cautious. Be mindful that we might get back down here to the 24s, kind of the lows of the initial IPO. Just be mindful of that. All right, so maybe you want to leg in a little bit with a stop below here, something like that. Again, if these companies are companies you want to hold long term, then yeah, you can be super patient with them. You can have orders open for weeks and months. Absolutely. Okay, next up is Apple, RLT's favorite stock besides Tesla, Apple and Tesla. So looks like we're holding these moving averages fairly well back past few weeks. So I would say that buy the dip is absolutely in effect. Don't know if we're going to get down there. We did fill this gap today. And for those of you who've seen these types of move before, we have a big move lower. Usually our inside day candle forms the very next day, and then you'll see what happens. We're going higher, going lower. So in this case, gapping down, this is a little bit of a high wave candle, which represents indecision. And then the very next day, yesterday, the 21st, which was Tuesday, another indecision candle, and it's an inside day indecision. So it's like a double whammy of indecision. And then boom, today we got a candle saying, hey, I think we're going to be going higher on Apple. But again, ideally you're buying on down days, not up days. You're selling on up days or setting up callers on Apple. Let's take a quick gander at Apple as well. Let's see, 36%. Geez, imagine 347.15 billion in sales. Jonathan, Traders Post, 347 billion in sales, and we're growing 36%. That is just mind-boggling, ladies and gentlemen. Like, that is nothing short of a miracle. Now, yeah, the gross profits is okay for a manufacturer, 41%. which means it implies that if you are selling a computer for $100, it costs 50. This implies it takes $59 of materials. So chips, screens, buttons, all the things that go into making all the electronics. It costs $59, and the margin is what's left over, which is $41. So not bad for a manufacturer, but I would say buy the dip is still in effect. I would be looking for some lower pricing action coming right through here with the stop down here. Now, does it hit that? I don't know, but look what happened just early summer. Absolutely got some selling, kind of hit that level. And if you were to use this strategy where you're kind of straddling between the 100 and the 200 simple moving average, if you were to set that up just like that, but go back in time, you're to set this up over here where you guys can see it did pretty much the same thing previously. Like, hey, you know what? It did it before. I'm going to set up my orders. I'm going to set up my orders and I'm going to straddle these levels. I usually like to set my lowest one below the 200 simple moving average because sometimes you're going to get sucker punched and you want to take advantage of a little bit lower price action. So if you were to do something like this, we'll play this out and you guys can see exactly how this works. 20, 30, 40. Now, the most important piece of this, ladies and gentlemen, is figuring out where you want to set your close below, your emergency breaks, your going to be buying protective puts. And I teach this in my mentoring group, and we have plenty of free classes on it, but there we go. Boom, ladies and gentlemen, bouncing off at this point, we would have got in 3 levels, not finally the last one, but boom, we'd be in our 60% level. And we're making new highs over here. So we would be setting up a covered call. So we're like, hey, I want to lock in my gains, but not sell. So I'm going to sell like 150 covered call, buy a 145 strike put. So I'm buying like a 50 delta at the money put, protective put, and I'm selling a covered call. So maybe let's just say hypothetically, I sell this for $8, so I collect $8, and then this right here, maybe it costs me $12. So ladies and gentlemen, if I sell $8 and come out of pocket, how much would I come out of pocket? If I collect $8 and then spend 12 out of pocket, I'm getting at the money insurance for about $4. So if we roll over, I'm protected, right? If we go higher, anything closing above, then I'm giving away the upside, which is fine. But again, there you go. Boom. Depending on what expiration you set up, that's how it'd look. So imagine locking in your gains right here. Depending on if you set up a 1 month or 2 month option, 30-day or 60-day option, you would have, let's see, back to look at my calendar. So if I was to set up let's see, what was our August expiration for monthlies? That would have been on August 20th. So boom, 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 right there. August 20th. This guy right here. So if you set up a 30-day option, you would have not had your shares taken away, and your insurance that you spent $4 on would have expired worthless. But you still got your shares, and it's higher than when you first set it up, right? That's the beauty of callers. All right, one more crook. On Apple. Again, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. It's already made its higher move, close the gap, but wait for something like this. I would wait for a little bit of a pullback, continuation higher with the stop maybe down here. 140, I can say 145 by 140, something like that on Apple. All right, Etsy, and then we're gonna look at one more. Etsy, I'm not in this. These lines are a conversation I had with a coaching student a few months ago. This was my plan, exactly what we just looked at with Apple, waiting for these moving averages, price action to come back to these moving averages, buying three different levels. She is in 60% and continuing higher. She is a happy camper. I believe she set up a collar on this up day and riding high, locking in gains. It now becomes a unlosable trade on Etsy. Etsy is kind of making a series of little bit of a pennant, not quite exactly perfect, but I think it's going to have it's kind of coiling, maybe go sideways for a few more days, and it's going to make a strong pop higher or lower very, very soon. However, we're still a little bit away from our moving averages right at this moment. So I think we're going to come back down to that probably the next 3-4 weeks, something like that. We'll see what happens. All right. Last but not least, I'm going to show you my Lemonade trade. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So got a signal yesterday. This is Momo on a 30-minute chart on Lemonade. And if you don't hear anything I say, please pay attention to this because it is going to be good. I'm running a test. And if you were to buy and hold Lemonade, the stock itself, you would be down 40%. I know plenty of people who own the stock long-term, and they've been sitting on it underwater for a while. However, if you were to trade Momo long on a 30-minute chart, if you were to trade Momo, get a trigger, you buy in at the close of this. So I put some coinage into this, got a nice pop higher, which sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I locked in my gains on this candle right here, setting up a protective put. So I bought at the money and I sold a covered call. So let's take a look how much I sold it for. Came out of pocket very, very little. Let's see. I have a 73 protective put that I paid $5 for. So basically, this piece right here cost me $5. But to help finance that, I was able to collect $2.85 up here. So I paid the difference, right? So I bought at the money insurance, and it now becomes an unlosable trade. So if we close up here, stock gets taken away at 75, fine with me. If we close in between these two levels, these two legs of my insurance become worthless, but I only paid what was it, $2.15 for it. No big deal, not the end of the world. For those of you who have car insurance, house insurance, if you do not use your insurance that you have, you don't really see it as a loss. You just see it as I had it if I needed it. And then if it closes below 73, I'm guaranteed to sell at 73. So I bought, I set that up just slightly out of the money. Yeah, that's what I have. That's my plan on it. And any questions on that, team? I feel like I ran through our list here. Any questions on callers or anything, please let me know. I am going to be giving out my email address more frequently because I like to hear from you guys. Matt@reallifetrading.com. Pretty simple. Matt@reallifetrading.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hit me with what you would like to review on Thursday. And let's get after it on Thursday. Let's see, clear list. Boom. Let's hit Thursday. All right. WEBR Weber, the grill company, we're going to add to Thursday. Yep. I better just type it out. It's coming in fast. All right. RB, Roblox, Weber. Let's see what else. Chewy, Traeger. Yeah, give me some Traeger. I'm gonna be using that actually here as soon as we're done. Gonna have a cookout on the Traeger. EXAS NLY. American Airlines, Redfin, RDFN. EXPI. Yep. Cloud Real Estate Company and Robinhood. And of course, we're going to review SPY, IWM, and the DIA. Cool. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, Boeing, got it, and Crocs. All right, cool. Thanks so much, team. Don't forget to love life, live life, and trade it. Thank you, and have a great night.